Welcome, everyone. There's nothing like a Whitney Houston and Queen concert during our Sunday gathering. A warm welcome to you wherever in the world you are. If we haven't met yet, I'm Sandra Champlain, longtime afterlife explorer. I'm joined here with my wonderful friends Shirley-Anne Sharp, Craig Dowling, and of course, Darren Wynn. Wow, this is Sunday gathering number 141. Can you believe it? What started out in the dark times of COVID, just, to be together for a couple of months on Sundays to inspire, has now going on 2.5 years later. And no doubt for eternity, we'll have our Sunday gathering. So with that, welcome. I'm going to pass it over to Darren to tell you our theme for today, and then we'll get started.
Thank you for that, Sandra, and thank you for that wonderful intro. Two great artists there. I was sitting there with my eyes closed, and it's like heaven, isn't it? But thank you and welcome to all of you for joining us on our 141st Sunday gathering. Who would have believed all those months ago? And look where we are today. So today, I'm lucky enough to be the chairperson for you. I've got a confession though, I didn't come up with the theme today. It was kind of instigated from our lovely friends Sue and Pete from Scotland. But we'll tell you more about that as we progress through the Sunday gathering. But with me today, we've got the hostess with the mostess, Sandra Champlain from America, who will be doing obviously all the controls and the background stuff, and we'll be doing our address this evening. We have the wonderful Craig from Ireland, who will be doing our demonstration of mediumship and our closing prayer today. And we have the wonderful Shirley-Anne from New Zealand, who will also be doing our demonstration of mediumship. And then you've got myself from England, who will be doing the opening prayer, the healing, and the closing words for the week. So we've all come together today from different continents across our world. And look, well, here we are all together on this small little screen. So without further ado, if you'd all like to close your eyes and join me for the opening prayer. As we unite together here today under that banner of We Don't Die, united as friends, brothers and sisters from across the world, to be of service in any way we can, to join the two worlds together once again. To our dear friends, helpers and loved ones of that world we call unseen, we ask that you be here with us once again today for our Sunday gathering. As we unite here from different countries within our globe, we come together speaking different languages and different dialects. We come together from different backgrounds and different understandings, but today we unite in the name of love. Casting aside our daily lives, coming together once again, casting aside our own needs, our own wants, and our own desires. And we enter into this Sunday gathering with an open heart and an open mind, knowing that anything and everything is possible. We ask that our workers here be free and open to work as they wish, and allow them to cascade the thoughts and words from our friends and loved ones in that world we call unseen, for all ears that can hear today, and to bring those moments of joy, happiness, healing, and upliftment for all. Each and every one of us deems it a joy and a privilege to walk side by side with your world and work for your world and represent your world in any way we can here on earth. And as always, we do this with utmost integrity to the best of our own abilities and understanding. And we truly hope we can represent you in the correct way and make you proud here today. As we open our Sunday gathering in the theme of Beloved, we do so with smiles upon our faces, positivity within our minds, and an abundance of love to create that perfect meeting ground to truly unite the two worlds together as one here today. And as always, we ask that healing light continues to shine to all four corners of our world, to allow that healing balm to come to all those hearts and minds that may be in need here today. So without further ado, my friends, we welcome you here today. Amen. Okay, this Sunday gathering is going to be a little bit different to our usual one. We normally have a reading followed by a healing, but we're going to combine the two today. And as I mentioned at the beginning, our dear friends Pete and Sue from Scotland sent in a beautiful video to Sandra earlier on this week, which Sandra shared with me, and we both agreed it was a beautiful song. We really felt the emotion behind it, and we thought it would make a perfect theme for our Sunday gathering. So shortly, we're going to play that song for our healing song. but it's also going to form part of the reading. When you see and hear the song, you'll understand what I mean. As spiritualists, we talk about being the perfect person, being kind and generous to one another, not being prejudiced, showing forgiveness, helping those in need. And I think this song that we're going to hear shortly summarizes that beautifully. And it's you to being something simple, being love. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Sandra to start playing our video. But as we do, let's all come together as one and let's send our love out to the world that's in need at this time and show the impact and the difference that we can truly make when we come together in love. So thank you, Sandra.
That is a beautiful song. And we do need to have another shout out to Sue and Pete in Scotland for sending that. It's so natural when you're feeling love and you're feeling inspired to want to share. And I don't know what touched their hearts, but they thought, well, let me email this to Sandra. And that became our theme today. We always take requests, ladies and gentlemen. We are all birds of a feather. And if there's something that touches your heart, a song, maybe a reading, send it my way. Just sandrachamplain@gmail.com. You're as much of this community as I am. And so let's be together on this and continue to create. And speaking of creation, I know when I love someone, there's nothing I love doing more than surprising them, cooking for them, creating for them. And watching that beautiful video, I thought of however the earth was created and designed. And, I imagine like a team behind the scenes creating the mountains and the skies and the rainbows and the birds and the alligators and all this species. And teams of people, communities maybe coming together, using their imagination to create for the people that they love, that get to enjoy this. I've seen some amazing videos and pictures of birds. Even one bird has got all the colors of the rainbow. Crazy. And like I said, the crocodile or alligator and all kinds of critters out there. To be on that committee must have been, let's share love, let's just create, let's have a really unique experience for our friends that get to walk on this earth. Anyways, after Sue and Pete sent that song, I decided to just look up who created the Be Love song and why. And I found a lady named Diane Hayworth who created it. And she has done a study about people who practice being love and how it changes their life. So I just want to read you this. In a case study conducted in early of 2020, participants agreed to use the Be Love principles, those are the ones in the song, for at least 5 out of 7 days a week, consistently for 90 days. So here are the results, okay? People's self-love increased 14%. The feeling of being peaceful increased 17%. Life's happiness, their happiness level increased 14%. Their life situation improved 17%. Their feeling of being connected to the divine, whatever that meant for them, increased 29%. And the overall clarity of who they are in life, that's a big one, increased 60%. Could you imagine gaining that much clarity just by doing something for 90 days? Last couple of weeks we spoke about gratitude, and as wonderful as gratitude feels, it really seems like a project, doesn't it? To take some time to think about what you're grateful for. We have this mind or ego, whatever you want to call it, that wants to fight us, wants us to be worried and think about the future or stew about things in the past. That's just by nature of being human. But gratitude feels good and love feels good, doesn't it? Oh, yes, it does. To love, to be loved, it's fabulous. So let's go through these principles and we're going to brainstorm on them just a little bit. The first one is greet everyone with an open heart. without an agenda. Well, that seems a little overwhelming, does it? What does it mean? Everyone. Does that mean people I don't like? Does that mean people I don't know? Yeah, it does. As human beings, we build up baggage. You know, someone long ago did something to me that made me lose total trust in them. And unfortunately, I spent a lifetime never trusting anything they did. Now, unfortunately, that person had apologized, but I didn't realize that sometimes when things go really wrong, we form opinions of people that just stick with us. So I have forgiven them. Yes, absolutely, I have. And I do trust them now. But it took something. So greeting everyone with an open heart without an agenda means putting the past in the past. It really does. I think people are very hard on themselves. I know I'm very hard on myself. So I don't need anybody else to be hard on me. I don't. But if we can just clear the slate, and no matter who it is, greet them with an open heart. The world's tough. You know, right now people are out Christmas shopping, and you see people wherever you see them. Often they may greet you with a hello or a smile, but you never know the pain and suffering that's going on behind those eyes. So greeting everyone with an open heart could be as easy as saying, geez, you've got a nice smile. Or, boy, those earrings really look good on you. Or, boy, that color blue looks great. Little things, no agenda. Well, maybe to make them smile. That's good. The second one for the be love is see the divine essence in everyone and everything. See the divine essence in everyone and everything. Whatever you believe as far as God or the universe or the divine, I think we can all agree that there's a life force that moves through everyone, everything. And there's this divine nature that's so amazing. You know, not only who figured out the plants and animals and everything, but to have us on a planet that's hurling around the universe just in the perfect place where sunlight can keep everything alive. And we have the atmosphere, so we have air to breathe and water to drink. And at one point, this planet, this rock we call home, it was just the basics, you know, the dirt. I'm looking outside right now, the trees, the water, all the basic elements. And out of that comes absolutely everything you see around you. How does everything come from just this basic earth? Well, that's divinity to me. That is an intelligence much greater than we can even be aware of. That people get ideas and can create. And, you know, we all have a mobile phone, and how that came from this earth. Like, I have no idea. No idea. But there's an intelligence. There's not only divinity, but everything you see. There's been somebody's hands on it that have created it for you with life running through them. Many people are still alive and many people are long gone, but they touched it. Their divine essence touched it. So what would it be like to live in that state of wonder and curiosity and not take everything that's in our lives for granted, but actually take a second and say, oh my gosh, you know, I see a screw that's holding my window pane together. Who created that screw? How was that screw created? Be in that state of wonder, outside of this brain that wants to think of the negative and dwell in the past and be worried about the future. Just say, wow, you know, appreciate the little things. See the divine essence in everyone and everything. That was number 2. Number 3, forgive quickly, completely, and unconditionally. Yikes, can we do that? First of all, forgive quickly. Yikes, sometimes that takes a little time, doesn't it? Because it's so easy to think we're right and other people are wrong. But what if we gave up being right? What if the next time somebody said something to you and you knew they were wrong? You didn't argue. You just say, oh, okay, I'll try to see how you see it. Don't fight. Give up being right all the time. Forgiving people, like our friend Peter said a few weeks back, you don't necessarily have to tell them, because sometimes they're not asking for forgiveness. But if they've wronged you, if it's rubbed you the wrong way, we don't know what people go through. We don't know their hardships. We don't know how they were raised to know what their values are and how they see life. I'm sure if we stood in someone else's shoes for as many years as they've been in it, we would see life differently, and we would see from their perspective. I remember a great fortune cookie I got that said, the best place to stand in an argument is on the other person's side. I thought, wow. So that's the world of forgiveness. Unconditionally. Wow, that's tough too, though, because, don't we want to be in control? I know I do. But my mom and I were watching TV not too long ago, and there's a new satellite that's out there, way far out. It's taken some pictures of the Earth and the moon together, way, way, way out. And I was looking at that picture, and I'm trying to imagine where I am on that Earth. Where's America? Where's Massachusetts and Rhode Island, the little area that I'm at? Impossible to see, impossible. If we take that 30,000 foot view, well, that's where airplanes travel, 30,000 feet view, and we look at this Earth from a different perspective, suddenly our lives, we don't have to take them so seriously. I know there's a lot going on, but there's a bigger perspective. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years human beings have been on this Earth, but a long time. People come, people go. We will too. But this beautiful Earth will continue for an awful long time. So if we look at unconditionally, it's just let go. Don't take it all so seriously. Forgive quickly, completely, and unconditionally. And the fourth one is, remember, you never left the light. You never left the light at all. And to me, that goes back to that divinity, that energy that we all have running through us. It is so easy to take for granted our lives, isn't it? And who we are. But if we think of the miracle of conception and the miracle of a little embryo growing into who we are today, with everything it needs to create intelligence and think and create and love and be loved, boy, that's pretty miraculous. You think of robots, they don't have the intelligence. Well, I'm sure some of them are starting to be, but the fact that our parents came together and voila, here we are enjoying the Sunday gathering. You heard me maybe at the beginning. I was hanging my Christmas lights outside. It wasn't so fun. Half of them are burnt out. I got frustrated, yes. But also there's some little ornaments I have around that take batteries. And so I was putting the batteries in and turning them on. And batteries are needed to turn a lot of things on. But what about us? Where's our battery? I know we have a heart that beats, but again, to think that we are these energy vehicles, that all we need to do is add a little water, a little food, a little sunlight, a little Sunday gathering, and here we are. So see the divinity in everything, and even in ourselves. We never left that light. There is something that is radiating through all of us. I've done some experiments in remote viewing, which is like ESP. And when we can quiet our minds and set the intention, it's amazing the things we can pick up on, not just from people around, but also people on the other side of the world. I was able to see elements of what my friend had on his table, and he was on the other side of the world in Australia. I had my young niece with me, and she was hiding things in a shoebox. And we took turns, and then we had to remote view what was in it. And we could tell elements of what those things were. And then my sister wanted to get in on this. So she says, I'm going to think of something, and then we'll see if you guys can pick it up. So she was driving. She thought of something. And at the exact same time, my niece Julia and I said, a dozen red roses. We were all shocked. My sister so shocked, she had to pull over the car and just drop her mouth like, what happened? How did that happen? There's a connection between us. It's cool, isn't it? But it doesn't exist at the same time that little chatty brain that wants to worry and think of the past and be guilty and all that exists. It happens when we're okay to imagine and okay to play. You know, I get to be part of some of our great classes online, and everything we do is to put away that rational brain and let that imagination kick in. And that's how our connections work. Well, you'll see with our mediums today. They have to trust the spirit world, that the images that they're putting in their mind are not just their imagination. The people in the spirit world are using their imagination to put memories and thoughts and pictures and feelings into the medium so that they can connect you with your loved ones. Now, the words be love sounds very close to be loving or being loving, but I think there's a difference. When we're being loving, there's an action that takes place. It's almost like, well, right now I don't feel like being loving, for example. But then if I can think about it, I can start being loving, okay? Like there's a difference between being a mom, and my mom's upstairs, and to me, she's just mom. She doesn't have to be mom, she is mom. For me, I'm Sandra. It's all I know, I'm Sandra. But if somebody wants to imitate me, they could be being Sandra. So the more we practice something, the more we become it. So if you think of a dog, all right, now we think of dogs as man's best friend, all that unconditional love. Could you imagine a dog who had to work at being loving? You know, first thing in the morning, they wake you up, they're all excited, they're being loving. Then you go off to work. So the dog, oh, glad they're gone. Dog crawls on the couch, pulls out the remote control, hits it, turns on Netflix for a while. Not happy, not excited. You come back home from work. Oh, it's time. Tail starts wagging. They greet you at the door. No, that's not how it works. A dog is love. A dog is love. They don't have to work at being loving. They are that. So today on Be Love, I think by being loving and doing loving actions, that is all good. But I'm just asking you to consider, what would it take to actually be love, to actually have those principles be alive in your life without you trying to do that? And I thought of a couple of things. Is, first of all, yes, what kind of things could you do to show your love to people? So I think that's really the start of it. And if there's people you love in your life, compliment them, let them know what you love about them, surprise them, I don't know, whatever that self-expression is for you of being loving. The more you are loving, the more the people in your life will start knowing you as that loving person, the more it will be automatic for you to be that. Gratitude works the same way. If you're with a family, maybe at one of the holidays, and everybody gets to say what you're grateful for, and perhaps you can ask them, you know, I'm really trying to take on gratitude and be as grateful as I can. If you hear me not being grateful, could you remind me and ask me what I'm grateful for? Those kind of things will get people in your life involved, and suddenly gratitude will grow. Same thing with being loving. I think there is a ripple effect to being loving. Could you imagine having this conversation? Oh, I heard today something about being loving, and what could we do to be more loving? And then they tell two friends, and then they, well, more than tell two friends, they show two friends, and then they show two friends. Ripple effects are some real things. You know, we all know people that have been in a bad mood, and then they cause us to be in a bad mood, and then we take it out on the next person. Well, we can pay it forward also with love. Remember, our minds don't want us to do this. It is something we have to put in because it's just part of our makeup to worry about the past and the future and all that. And, you know, I've tried to fight this little brain that I have and the negative voice, and it doesn't work. But once you accept someone exactly as they are and exactly as they aren't, then there's a possibility of something new. So, what can you do to remember to be love? Are you someone who can put up some signs around your house, little post-it notes? Remember to be loving today. Or maybe write down those 4 things I said in the beginning and keep those posted around. Every day when I first go into my bathroom, I've got a calendar and there is a positive message on each day, something motivational. And they're really, really powerful. And so the first thing I see in the morning is something like be love or, you know, something powerful. So we need those reminders of who we are. I don't wake up in the morning remembering I'm Sandra Champlain, who wrote a book, who's got 2 podcasts with now 500 episodes, and get to be with these great people every Sunday. No, I don't. I look in the mirror and go, oh my gosh, I'm getting older. I'm using the expression now, I'm pushing 60. You know, I'm with my mom who's 80, and every so often she treats me like a little kid. And I said, Ma, remember, I'm pushing 60. She's like, I can't believe I have a kid that age. Anyways, make some reminders somehow of, I use gratitude and being loving. Be love. Let me think if I have anything else to share from that before we go on to our demonstration. Yeah, I think one last thing is Mother Teresa, I think, was the perfect person of being loving, of be love. Here's a quote by her. Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. I'm remembering the expression, what would Jesus do? Really, if you didn't have any animosity and you always had forgiveness, who would you be around people? And you really would be a divine being. But keep that sense of humor, okay? You need that. All right, we are going to go into our demonstration of mediumship now. Our friends Carrie and Phil are still in Canada, but here's a secret. They're going to fly here to Massachusetts and spend some time with me. So next week on the Sunday gathering, I don't think we're going to all fit in the same screen, but you'll see us together somehow or another. So that's where they are. But we have Craig and Shirley-Anne with us. And if this is your first time here, I'm going to just give you some of the basics of how this works. And if this is not your first time here, you can pretend it is and be on the edge of your seat, excited, being loving. The spirit world works, well, similar to what we're doing here. You'll see 4 of us on your screen today on behalf of all of our Sunday gathering community. Well, there'll be a handful of loved ones on behalf of all of our loved ones that will step forward from the spirit world, letting us know that our loved ones live on. Now, of course, not everyone can get a reading here today, and that's not the point. It's to show that all of our loved ones are really here. It's not easy, especially going into this time of year, because Our minds want to think about the past and what should be. We should all be together again. They shouldn't have left us. Well, they haven't left us. I know it's different, but they are very, very much still around. So when our mediums first speak, someone from the spirit world will make contact with them. They're still people with their personalities. You'll hear either Craig or Shirley-Anne give a couple of initial bits of information about the person. If you can understand every bit of what they describe about the person that's connecting with them, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, this is the audience participation time, because find that raise hand button, press it, see what happens on your side. Look at all the hands going up. I know you can't see them, but I can see them on my side. And then it should say lower hand. So if you press it again, it will say your hand will come down. Very good, very good. And those of you who are out for a walk or multitasking while you're on the Sunday gathering, please know that sometimes you accidentally press your raise hand button. So you want to be careful not to do that. Denise and Josephine, you still have your hands raised, so you want to press your lower hand button, just so you know. Again, we ask that you can understand all the information they said. Once we narrow it down to one person, I'll press a magic button on my side that will let you unmute yourself, so you'll be able to talk to either Craig or Shirley-Anne. And when I say talk with them, your job is easy. We want them to do the work. All we need you to do is say yes, as in, yes, I understand that information. No, as in I don't, or I don't know. And don't worry if you need to say no. No simply means new opportunity. Unfortunately, it's not like Netflix that they see everything perfectly, that it's coming from the spirit world. So they do their very best to understand all the images and feelings and words that come from your loved ones. I always say it's a good idea for each one of us to listen in closely to the evidence that's coming through, because you get to see how close people really are. You get to see how they're actually part of our life and that they can witness what it is that we're doing. And also the messages that come through, 9 times out of 10, guys, we can all take some of the information. So as we are all being love today, let's all share some love with the spirit world. And again, even if your loved one doesn't come through, I guarantee you they're right by your side. Okay? So our song today is from Daryl Hall and John Oates, You Make My Dreams Come True. And as someone who is going to leave this Sunday gathering being love, it's a beautiful thing to think about, making someone else's dreams come true, maybe helping them, maybe even just making them breakfast or a cup of coffee. That can do it. So here's our song, and then we'll have Craig up first. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know we had advertised that we'd have Denise with us today, but unfortunately her husband is under the weather, so she couldn't be with us, but we do have Shirley-Anne and Craig. So Craig, if you could unmute yourself and we'll get started.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Sandra. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with everyone tonight as well, and given that gratitude as well, an amazing part of the teams and that love as well. Just before I begin, I have to have a sense of humor and say, if you want to just respond with yes, that's okay too. No problems there. And as we begin to move forward here, we'll just work with what's coming forward. So as I begin to move my mind to the spirit world, I do feel I have a gentleman in the spirit world, and I know where you would understand the first name of Bruce and the last name of Wayne. And it is that type of character I'm thinking about as well. So I feel this gentleman was quite an entrepreneur as well, I want to say. So a gentleman who was an entrepreneur, and I know the first name of Bruce or the last name of Wayne as well, you'd understand as well.
Either or, first name Bruce or last name Wayne?
We'll give it a go. We'll see what we're...
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, who can understand this information? Please press your raise hand button. Could have the first name of Bruce or the last name of Wayne, entrepreneur. Lisa, you've got your hand raised. If you could press your unmute button, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
let's see. There you are. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
How are you doing, Lisa?
I'm good, thanks.
Very good. So you understand the name of Bruce and Wayne,
Yes.
and you understand the entrepreneur.
No.
I do feel that's just what I was going to sit around, because I do feel like he was someone that was a bit of a philanthropist though as well. Do you understand that?
Not sure.
Do you understand where this gentleman would be giving money to charities and things of that nature out of the goodness of his
No.
heart? You
No.
don't?
No.
Okay. 1 second on, hold with me for a sec. So we'll just make sure. I know where I'm speaking about this gentleman's character. I feel he's someone who's quite strong-minded and determined. I feel he was actually a father as well. Is that correct? Do you understand this is
Yes.
father? There we go.
Yes.
That's where I want to be. So I know he's with me. We'll just work through this though. Okay. So let's just have a bit of patience. I do feel he's someone that's quite, I know he was someone that used to dress quite well as well. Is that correct?
At times.
But I know when it comes down to his heart, it didn't matter what he was wearing. His heart was the main interest, because I know I'm talking about him being very loving and very kind deep down.
Yes.
I know also as well, I feel actually as though he was a bit of a humanitarian himself. Would you understand your father was very open and expressive with people in the community?
Sometimes.
But I know when it comes to being charitable with people, though, he did have a generous heart.
Yes.
Because that's just what I'm feeling here as well. And I know as well where I'm talking about this strong mind, you'd understand that this is your father as well. Is that correct, Lisa?
Yes.
And I know that yourself and father wouldn't have always got along. There would have been some difficulties sometimes.
Yes.
Because I know that's where that strong-mindedness comes in as well at times.
Yes.
But I also know where there's a love there, Lisa, behind your dad's heart. Because I know
Yes.
there's things at times your father makes me aware that he was, I've no other way to say this, he was a little bit stubborn at times. Do you understand?
Yes.
And I know that there's an apology there as well, but that's actually something he didn't do when he was here as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to know that as well. But I also feel as though your father was very well liked in the community because he had a great sense of humor as well.
Yes.
And there's memories of him interacting with some of the family members as well. And that's actually at Christmas time as well.
Yes.
Because I feel as though your father was someone to be around, especially at Christmas time, to have those fun memories with. And if I'm correct about this, he also liked a short of whiskey as well.
Sometimes.
And it's sometimes, but it feels like when he did have it, his mood would change. He'd become very eccentric, actually, I want to say.
Yes.
Now, where I'm talking about eccentricity, I almost don't want to admit what ways I've acted when I've had a couple of drinks. Do you understand?
Yes.
It's a little bit of fun and a little bit of humor. And I know that's the way your father wants to be remembered as well. But I also feel when I'm talking about memories by the fire as well with father at Christmas time. Do you understand?
Yes.
And where you're sharing these moments with your father. And I know he's making me aware that he actually, he had his own, I can't step away from this, I have to use this, where he actually had his own stocking as well by the fireplace.
No.
If I'm wrong about that, then am I correct in saying, Lisa, that you've set out a stocking this year or had thoughts of doing that for your father?
Not sure.
Right, hang on a second, now we'll see. Would you understand, Lisa, where your father had a stocking out at Christmas time, but it actually feels like there was nothing in it? Do you understand that?
No.
I know I'm feeling as though he was someone though that was a humanitarian and he would have given to people, but I also feel as though would you understand that your father, I think I see now, your father was the type of person that wouldn't have taken anything back in return?
Yes.
There we go. And I know where he also would have, that's where I'm talking about, because your father would have provided for the family as well, Lisa. Is that correct?
Yes.
Especially when, and I actually feel as though times were hard as well within the family.
Yes.
And your father, that's where it is. And your father was a man that, I want to say there's a bit
Yes.
of pride there with your father, because I feel as though you've also been able to do the same. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I know he's very proud of you for that. But I also feel your father is someone that was able to be, I know your father as well was quite stubborn. I need to
Yes.
underline that, because
Mm-hmm.
he's saying that you've also had to be given the situation in the family. Do you understand?
Yes.
Mm. And I know that that's something he's proud of as well here. But also, where your father could be quite serious at Christmas time as well. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
It feels as though he wasn't always gleeful and happy, but I know that his favorite time was with you, Lisa, and that's what actually made him come to life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because I feel as though your father was someone, and this is towards the end of later years, where he spends
Yes.
time with his daughter, Lisa, and where he becomes more open and more expressive about his emotions, actually, is what I want to say.
Yes.
And
Yes,
I know
that's
you've
true.
had conversations with him. I know he's expressed his sadness with you, actually, as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I know he hasn't quite apologized, but it does feel as though he has made efforts to express his wrongs and speak his truth about what he felt. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
He makes me aware that this is something that you've also had to do with your family at the moment as well.
Yes.
He makes me also aware that you've had to be able to speak up for your truth, to be stubborn, and to not let the situations involving it feels like there's just little bits of conflict there at the moment. Do you understand?
Yes, that's true.
And I know where he's saying this as well to inflect that he's proud of you because you stuck with your guns, you kept to your truth,
Great.
and above all,
Yes.
he's actually said that you're daddy's girl. And that's what I want to leave you with, okay?
Yes, thank you. That's so
Thank you
true.
very
Thank
much,
you so
Lisa. I
much.
appreciate that.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Dad.
All right, so. Okay. I'm not exactly sure on the relationship here, but we'll give it a go and see where we're going with this. So I do feel I have a lady here in the spirit world, and actually, in fact, I do feel it's mum, and I do feel as though there may be someone, we'll check now in a second, but I feel as though mum is coming forward, and I feel that mum, she would have just liked to put up a Christmas tree with nothing on it, just natural. That's what I've got to say. So does someone understand mum in the spirit world who would have not decorated the tree and just had it bare?
Interesting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you can understand that information, press your raise hand button. No hands up just yet, Craig.
Just a second now. Oh, excuse me. If this is correct, then I want to say that someone here has not got any decorations on the Christmas tree. And I'm sorry, I don't want to shake up anyone's reality there, but you may not have anything on your Christmas tree at the moment, and it's just bare. And you have mum in the spirit world.
All right. Now, Emily, you had put your hand up and then taken it down. I don't know if you meant to keep it up. All right, Sunshine and Shauna, you both have your hands up that your Christmas trees are up, but no decorations. So we have two.
Okay.
We have one hand went down. All right, let's bring in Sunshine. Could you unmute yourself, Sunshine? Hello?
Hello.
Welcome.
This is stepmother, so I'm not sure if it's me.
That's fine. That's fair enough. It does feel a bit distant though. So we'll bear with me on this. We'll make sure anyway. So you understand, first of all, lovely name, by the way. Second thing I'll say is, as we move forward here, do you understand that you have, bearing in mind you've given me that stepmom in the spirit world, but there's also a Christmas tree you have that's bare. There's nothing on it, no decorations.
We just put it up 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago.
There we go. Right. Well, I know that's where I'm looking for the tree to be bare. It feels a bit unusual here, so I'm gonna have to see what the story is. Am I right in saying that you and stepmom had a very confusing relationship? Does that make sense?
No,
One second now. Sunshine, you must understand that she didn't exactly speak up too much though.
I don't understand.
Craig, we do have Emily with her hand raised as well.
Let's give it a look then. We'll see what the story is.
And Sunshine, you just stay where you are.
Please
Emily,
listen in, yeah.
Hello.
hello. Can you understand the information Craig has said?
The tree, yes, but grandmother for me, not mother.
Okay. I can't say this now, but there were certain dynamics there at the start that are making me think there's certain people here, okay? But you understand that the tree must be bare though at the moment, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. That does feel better, yes. So as I'm talking here, do you understand though that mum is in the spirit world as well?
No, grandmother.
But would you understand where grandmother was like a mother to you and you had a very close relationship?
100%.
There we go. Right. That's feeling better. So thank you, Sandra, for doing that for me. But I know where I'm talking here about this. It's actually, grandmother makes me aware as well that she wasn't just a mum for you either. She was that strong role model in your life as well. Do you understand that?
Absolutely, yes.
Because I feel she's very driven, very forward directed, and would not give, she wouldn't even give up there and say, take no for an answer. Do you understand?
Yes.
I feel her presence there, but I also know this is how close she has been with you in your life as well. Do you understand that, Emily?
Yes.
And I want to say as well that grandmother was someone that had she had no problem taking up responsibility in her life either for the rest of the family.
Yes.
I feel as though she makes me aware that there were multiple siblings you have as well.
Yes.
And she also took care of them.
Yes.
And I know she also was, it does feel as though she was working in a nursing environment as well. Is that correct?
Kind of.
Right. What I feel grandmother was able to step forward in the family home, but I actually feel she had more response. She was working as well as this. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I feel where she was working as well, it feels as though she was working with other people and actually helping them with illnesses.
Yes.
And I know where she's working with other people's illnesses. You must understand as well that it's not quite a doctor though. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's not a doctor, but it is someone that was taking care of illnesses physically. So it does feel like a nurse there though.
Not a nurse, no. She worked in a pharmacy.
Okay, can't give you that now, but you do understand where there is that part with illnesses and that. But
Yes.
I know that's the job she had on the side, as well as taking care of your family as well and some of your siblings. And she makes me aware as well that you had a brother.
Yes.
And your brother was quite funny with your grandmother.
Yes.
And sometimes he was a little bit of a tyke at times. Do you understand?
Yes.
And I know he used to go missing as well. She makes me aware.
Yes.
And I know this is a game she would have played hide and seek with him, actually.
I
I'll
don't
take
know.
that back. I'll take that back because I know grandmother he would have played hide and seek with grandmother. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because it feels like she's not having any of this with him. Do you understand that feeling?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's your grandmother. But I feel as though she's got that very strict sense of humor as well. I feel she put it on though deep behind that. She was a loving mother. She was really proud as well of what you've done. So she makes me aware that you've also taken responsibility for your family as well at the moment. Is that correct?
I can understand part of that, yes.
I know where I'm talking about the family and taking, it's been quite strenuous, she makes me aware.
100% yes.
And also where it's not been, you've been actually working as well, just like grandmother on the side.
Yes.
And she's commending you for that as well, because she wants to express her love towards you for that, because well, that's all she's saying. She just wants to give you her love and say well done. So please take her love with you if you can, Emily, if that's okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Craig.
Cheers. Lovely. Okay. So as I move my mind again to the spiritual world, I feel I have a gentleman stepping forward, and I actually feel as though I can't see out of my left eye. And I also feel as though there must be, get this right. I feel as though there is a carpet or upholstery that this gentleman had, and it feels as though okay, so I have a gentleman here. I can't see out of my left eye, and I also feel as though there's a carpet belonging to this gentleman as well that someone has.
Shall we put it out to the community? Blind
Yeah.
in the left eye, and this person has his carpet. Is that
A carpet, I believe, yeah.
okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, if that makes sense to you, press your raise hand button. No hands up yet.
Takers, yeah. Right, let's see. Oh, excuse me. I think I know what I did. Right, so I feel I actually have grandfather in the spirit world, and I know he was blind in his left eye, but I want to say that someone here has got a rather, I would say, exotic type of carpet. It feels like it's quite large. And I also want to say it must have been, I see it's actually black as well. Does someone understand that information? Grandfather in the spirit world, he must have been blind in his left eye. And you've got this large, what seems to be black and gold carpet even.
Everybody's thinking, but no hands are yet up.
Okay. If no one can take that information, does someone understand grandfather in the spirit world who was blind in his left eye?
Just that piece of information. Can anybody understand that? Peggy.
Right.
Peggy, could you press your unmute button? Hi, Peggy.
Hi.
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 Hello, Peggy.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Great to hear from you. So I know Peggy from some of the classes here, but I don't believe I've ever brought your grandfather through. Is that correct?
It was my father, and he was blind in one eye. I'm not sure if it was left or right, though.
Okay, right. Well, let's just set with it here, and we'll work through this. the only way I'd be able to take this is, would you understand, Peggy, where the relationship between father and yourself was a little bit distant at times?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right. That fits then. So, but as I'm moving forward here as well, you understand where your father, if it's not a carpet, do you understand where there's some sort of curtains or upholstery? It feels like it's something that's quite intrinsic. I want to use the word poshford that your father would have had. Do you understand this?
I don't know what Poshford is.
It would have been quite, I feel like it's a quite detailed. I'll have to come back to that now in a second and get to know him. So I feel your father was someone that he didn't really talk that much, and that's towards yourself as well, Peggy. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, right. And I also feel as though when he did talk, he found it very difficult to express his emotions towards you as well.
Yes.
And I know where I'm speaking about. There was a lot of insecurities there with that as well. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And I know where your father and this distance we mentioned, it's where he's expressing his discomfort with that. So I know he said to you that he was actually, you did actually have conversations with him later on in life. Is that correct?
No.
Do you understand where I'm talking about a conversation with him though, where he's talking about what's happened?
No.
They do feel as though there must have been communications from other people outside of your father where you heard what was going on with him. Is that correct?
Yes.
There we go. Also where I'm talking about how you've pretty much learned a lot from other people about your dad as well.
Yes.
And your father, I know your father, there's a bit of there's not quite a lot of feeling there towards it. It feels as though he was quite distant actually up until certain times. 1 second now. Peggy, am I right in saying that you've heard about your father speaking about you from other people? Where he's mentioned to other people in the family about yourself and what's going on?
I don't recall that, but it could be.
Okay. And I know he wasn't the best at communicating either. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, right. Okay. You must have heard, Peggy, from other sources about your father's mental health. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
There we go. You've also heard from other people about your father's way of expressing himself, that he was like this with other people too.
Yes.
And you'd understand as well that it wasn't just you, he was actually dealing with his own emotional turmoils as well.
Yes.
And he was also, it's not that he wasn't, you'd understand sometimes he just found it difficult to be around people because of what was going on with him emotionally.
Yeah, I could go with that.
Because I feel as though he's trying to say that's one of the reasons why he wasn't there. And I also feel that it wasn't personal as well. Could you take that?
Yes.
And I also know that he was at times quite stubborn. And he makes me aware as well, just doesn't getting to know him, that he had difficulties with finances as well. Is that correct?
I'm not sure about that, but it could be.
Then would you
That could be.
understand where there was one incident with your father, Peggy, where he found it difficult to, it feels like there's a lot of difficult emotions around an incident that occurred with him. Do you understand?
I'm going to say yes on that because there was many.
Okay, but I know it involves finances or work.
Oh, I don't know there.
Okay. I know that's your father. I know that's the way he was, but it does feel as though, right. you'd understand hearing about your father being a little bit stubborn at times as well, Peggy.
Yes,
And I know that's where I want to talk about him not being present as well at times,
yes,
because it feels like he kept the focus on himself at times as well.
absolutely.
Okay. But please know, I know what he's saying here is he wouldn't necessarily have apologized, but I do feel he's bringing that apology forward for forgiveness, like was said today by Sandra as well. So I have to say this, but I know he's bringing forward to say, I apologize for what I've done. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
Fred.
Peggy, for working with me. And thank you, Sandra. It's been a pleasure to work here tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Craig. Thank you to Dad. And now over to Shirley-Anne.
Oh, thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Darren. It's wonderful to be in this community, isn't it? Now, as I'm in my awareness, I feel as though I have a gentleman in the spirit world, and you would have known that before this gentleman passed, he would have had disability or failure with both legs. And I want to say this gentleman needed 2 crutches to walk. Can I put that out there?
Yes, thank you very much. Needed 2 crutches to walk and problems with both legs. The gentleman. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you can understand that, press your raise hand button. No hands up, Shirley-Anne.
Okay, then I'd like to ask if there is anybody here at the moment that knows of a gentleman with us still who has 2 crutches, who uses 2 crutches.
Angela put her hand up while you were giving the second bit. Let's just see what she can take. And Joe, I see you have
Yes.
a hand up. Hi, Angela.
Yes, hello. Actually, what I can take is that my uncle, he couldn't walk towards like the sort of final like part of his life, but he didn't have crutches. He was just like stationary. I mean, he would attempt, but he would fall, but he didn't have crutches, but he couldn't walk.
Okay, Angela, can I ask if he was offered crutches then?
I'm not entirely sure because it was in a different country. I was not there. He was with my mother, but I know
Okay,
that he couldn't walk.
Just listen, Angela. We have another 3 participants there. I'm looking for a gentleman, and before he passed, I know he was on 2 crutches. He needed 2 crutches to walk.
Now, Joe, you had your hand up as well. And Natalie, I see you there. Joe, could you unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello, can you understand that information?
Sorry, I thought Shirley-Anne, I thought you asked if I didn't know somebody in spirit, then I know somebody here who has 2 crutches.
Yes, Joe, but we'll go for in the spirit world at the moment.
Oh, not spirit world, just here, sorry.
Okay, so who else do we have
Stay
there?
where you are, ladies, and Natalie. And Natalie, if you could press your unmute button, we'll see what you can take there. Hi, Natalie.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The person that is on the other side was having a very hard time walking, and he had 2 canes, no crutches. They did want him to have crutches, but he didn't want to use them.
Okay, Natalie, that's feeling really good. Can I still check with the other 2 people that have risen their hands as well? Because I do feel whoever's here would have seen this gentleman on crutches. So who else do we have there, Sandra?
We had Joe and Angela.
Joe and Angela, okay. So Natalie, would you have seen this gentleman on crutches at some point? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Natalie, you would have been aware though, he would have been having rehabilitation.
Natalie, are you there?
Hi, sorry.
That's okay.
What was the last part that she said?
Okay, Natalie, would you be aware that your uncle was having treatment for his inability to walk?
It wasn't my uncle, but he had been in and out of the hospital.
Okay, and I even feel as though there had been some sort of treatment with even swimming, but I know there was treatment trying to relieve the pain of this disability that he had.
Yes, he was receiving various treatments.
Okay, but I do know that this gentleman had quite a sense of humor.
He was funny.
Because I know he could laugh at himself, at his own disabilities, because, you know, I feel at one point in his life, he was totally capable of doing so many things.
Yes.
Yes. And I even feel in the garden, he was like digging a spade, digging the ground, he could do. But once this, and I want to say, it feels like an illness that came on, like a bone deterioration. Can you understand that?
It was an illness.
Because I even feel my knees dislocating. Would you understand that, Natalie?
No.
Okay. Would you understand that there was a lot of pain around the knees, a lot of inflammation?
No.
I still feel like I'm in the right place here. I still feel like, Natalie, you understand the sense of humor, because I even feel when people come to see him, he had everybody in fits of laughter.
Yes.
And he would talk about some of the treatments that he had, and I feel he'd try and put a comical spin on them, and it was his way of kind of dealing with things. Can you understand that?
He didn't take any of it serious.
Yeah. And I even feel, even to the doctors, he was almost telling them what he needed, not so much what they feel he needed.
Absolutely.
But that would have been basically a drink and a cigarette, or a drink and a cigar, or something like that, getting him out of where he was. Can you understand that?
Yes.
All righty. But I feel like this gentleman had so much love to give, and I feel like within the family, it was actually really popular.
Yes.
But you would know his movements were really, really painful.
Yes.
And I know when at this gentleman's funeral, his funeral was huge.
No.
Okay. If his funeral wasn't huge, then I feel as though the family kept it very private.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Because I feel as though there was people wanting to come, and they were sort of either asked not to or discouraged.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that, lovey. I feel there's a lot of love in the spirit world coming from you, from a few members in the family, not just this gentleman. You've got a few people in the spirit world behind you.
Yes.
And I feel like there's just encouragement required with you at the moment. And I feel like this gentleman, he's your cheerleader. And I feel like that's what you're really needing at the moment.
Yes.
All right, so it's like I need to pick up my boots and carry on. But this gentleman had that force within him even before his illness developed to this extent.
Yes, he did.
Okay, lovely. Well, I just want to leave this with you. You have a lot of support in the unseen world. A lot of support. There's an awareness there that you've been helping others, you've been sending healing to other people. You would understand that.
Yes.
And because I feel like there's other family members that you've had very close in your mind at the moment that you are quite worried about.
Yes.
All right. I just want to give you the awareness there that the unseen world is there. And from this gentleman, I even want to say, they're there, baby. Can you understand that way he would talk?
Yes, and I asked him to, this is specifically what I asked him to do today.
Okay, well, and I will say to you, it's almost, I'm taking my cap off as proof. Can you understand that with this gentleman?
Yes.
Because that's what you were asking. You were wanting proof for today.
Absolutely.
Okay, lovely. Well, I'm going to leave you with so much love from the spirit world. You have no idea. It's actually bringing tears to my eyes. The love that they are sending you and the gratitude and the appreciation for looking after that family member that is needing your help at the moment.
It's our 3 sons.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, lovely. I'll leave you with lots of support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Shirley-Anne.
And thank you, Joe, for listening in there. Our lovely Joe. Now, as I move my mind to the spirit world again, I feel as I have a gentleman in the spirit world, and I know he would have been a foreman or an engineer, or because I feel like he's running a building site. Can we just throw this out there, Sandra?
Okay, foreman or engineer running a building site. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
He's in charge. He's in charge on the ground.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, who can understand this information? Maybe a construction company in charge of.
Yes,
Call them
yes,
here.
it was all
Mhm.
along those lines.
All right. Carrie. Carrie, if you could.
Can you understand this gentleman?
Hi, Shirley-Anne. My husband ran a fire water damage restoration company.
Correct, thank you. I knew it was husband there. And am I correct in saying he had a lot to do with, like, I do feel like he had to do with construction, but also demolition, the removal of things.
Yes, they did demo work.
And would he have been involved in helping clear the 9/11 site?
No.
Okay, that's incorrect. Would you know if he knew people that were involved in the clearance of that area?
I believe they have sister companies that probably did that, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, I feel that's a very, very strong possible there. And if you can find out just for your own proof there, because I even feel like he would have fielded phone calls around that area, because I do feel that 9/11 was quite strong with him. And I feel as though he would have known how to run that whole job.
He was in charge of a lot of major jobs, like in Canada, and with flooding and the stuff like that.
And I do feel with this gentleman though, it was like two different people. When you look at him, because he was very hands-on, but he also did all the planning, etc. Can you understand that?
Yes.
So you'd find him a lot on the floor, on the ground, but you have this gentleman that's quite well built, the hard hat, the work boots. But when you speak to him, this lovely voice, very gentle, very gentlemanly, and very clever.
Yes.
So you had like this image of this, and he was just so gentle, because I feel as though he had a way of handling people. He had a way of moving people.
Absolutely.
And you would be enthused about something or moved into something and not even know you were. This gentleman was so skilled with people.
Definitely, yes.
And I had this loveliness with him. It was so fine-tuned, because I feel as though even with the people that come onto the site, he could pick them immediately. Yes, that one's going to stay. No, he's not going to last 3 days.
Definitely, yes.
Because this was a very hard environment this man worked in, and the people around him, they had to be tough and quick.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
And I know that your husband, he could sort things out on the fly. Do you
Oh my
understand?
gosh. Yes.
And it wouldn't be one solution. This gentleman would come up with 4, and he would work through all of these solutions until one absolutely worked 100%. Can you understand that?
Yes.
But I even find that he was like that within the family. Like, I want to say with your children.
Yes.
And I can feel him within the family. asking them what they felt the solution was. Can you understand that?
Yes, yes, that was him.
And it's almost like, I've got a contract with Dad. You know, I'm going to work Dad into this, but I don't feel as though they ever won.
No, no, they listened to him, and yes.
I want to say to you, this gentleman has the most beautiful, beautiful smile.
Oh my gosh, yes. Beautiful teeth.
Yeah, this is what he's giving me to give to you. And I just want you to tuck that in your heart, Carrie, because it's a very special smile. And I know when he looked at you, there was a certain little twinkle and just that extra mile you could read on his face. You had a relationship. If he was over at one end of the room and you were at the other, you had these signals. You knew what was happening with each other.
Yes.
That was the closest you had. And I even know that he could finish your sentences and you could finish his sentences.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Well, Carrie, I want you to have a wonderful Christmas and know that this gentleman is right by your side. And I want to say to you in more ways than one, he knows I feel as though you have miles to walk in front of you, and your boots, he's putting it like this, your boots are quite heavy at the moment.
Yes.
And I want you to know he's holding your hand and walking that path with you, because I know you worked as a unit. He would never put his foot down and say, this is the way it's going to be. You worked as a team.
We did. Yes.
And I know it's that teamwork you're really, really missing at the moment. And I know you've been asking for help from him. Just direction. You know, not even what to do, just direction. Can you understand that?
Oh yeah, I talk to him all the time.
Okay, well, I just want to let you know he's there, my darling, and just, you know, if you were here, I'd just grab your face and
oh, thank you so much, Shirley-Anne. I appreciate it so much.
Well, much, much love, Carrie, because your husband is there holding your hand, and just you know he's there. You feel him.
I know. I feel him at night. I sense him around me a lot.
And I even feel you there's a smell. You have his smell.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have his cologne and his things I've never washed since he had them.
I do want to say here, you've been spraying one of the pillows with his cologne.
Absolutely. Yes, I do.
Because I'm guilty. He's giving me awareness here of a bit much.
Well, every night.
I will leave that with you, Carrie. You can sort that one out.
Thank you. Happy holidays, Shirley-Anne. Thank you so much. You made my whole month.
Bye-bye, honey bunny. Now, Sandra, how are we going for time here?
Well, I would say it's almost time to let the good people go. So, Shirley-Anne, thank you so much for stepping in and being with us today on short notice. And Craig, also thank you to you. You know, ladies and gentlemen, all of us volunteer our time, but we love it just as much as you do. So we really appreciate your training, you guys, and all the work you do on behalf of the spirit world. There aren't too many people out there, ladies and gentlemen, that take the time to develop and continue to develop so that our loved ones can have a voice one more time. So in a couple of weeks, I'll be announcing our new classes coming up. You may wish to join us for one of those. Just a few brief announcements. I mean, we know we're going into the holiday period, and I know personally, without our loved ones, it can be a very, very tough time. I know firsthand the excruciating pain of grief, and please know your loved ones are around. And we want to have signs. They can be ever so gentle. They can be a reminder of something you did together, or just a feeling. You know, not everybody can make the lights go on and off, but when you slow down and you be present, you'll start maybe feeling little things, or maybe a little kiss on the cheek, or ask them to step close. As a reminder, our home base is wedon'tdie.com. If you go to the store page, you scroll down and find my We Don't Die book. You can have it for free. Just use coupon code FREE. Chapter 10 is How to Survive Grief. I think it's the most important chapter. Much as we want to know about the afterlife, we really do need to navigate our way through the grieving process. But they are around us and they do love us. Thank you to our friends who have donated to make our Sunday gathering possible. It's not required, but we really do appreciate it. It helps us pay for the technology, etc. This coming Friday, we are with Scott Billigan for In the Arms of Eternity. And if you have not been with a trance medium before, we have a very special conversation with someone in the spirit world. It's nothing quite like it. And we also sit for healing. On this coming weekend, next weekend, I say, Carrie and Phil are doing an intensive medium weekend. So it's almost like a boot camp, but it's very intensive for our students or new students that are practicing mediums or developing mediums. It's a really good opportunity to get some good one-on-one with a group and with Phil and Carrie, intensive medium weekend. December 18th, we are having Sonia Rinaldi do a special presentation after the Sunday gathering. She is the lovely person in Brazil who's been capturing images and voices of people in the afterlife. We have a documentary film about her. She is amazing, and she's got some brand new experiments she wants to share. And for anyone who joins us, we're going to do a raffle. Anyone who joins us on that day, I'm going to be pulling a name out of the hat, and she will be working with one member of our audience in the future. It's impossible to get a one-on-one reading with Sonia. She doesn't do them, but with someone, she will be working to bring through evidence of your loved one through picture or voice, however the spirit moves her. But she's pretty incredible. So details for everything at wedon'tdie.com. Also tons of podcasts by me and different interviews about evidence of the afterlife. It's really worth coming to our Sunday gathering, putting up those reminders, like I said, and also anything that you can do, even reading books to remind you of this greater reality. It sure does help as our minds pull us to worry. So I'm going to turn it over to Darren for some words for the week.
Thank you for that, Sandra. It's always a joy and a privilege to sit here and watch the Sunday gatherings as they unfold and listen to each person in turn speak. But I just wanted to personally thank Sandra for always being the hostess with the mostest, with a big smiley face and a big kind heart, and for the lovely words that you shared this evening. So thank you. Thank you to Craig for being on with us. It's my first time being on with Craig, and it's been an absolute joy and a privilege. So thank you. It's been a pleasure to watch you work. Shirley-Anne, it's been my second or third time on with you, and each time I enjoy it more and more. So thank you for being on here with us and being part of the Sunday gathering. Like Craig, it's always a pleasure to watch and listen to you guys work. So thank you to all of you. And thank you to you guys at home as well for being here week in and week out, and sharing your time with us. You know, it's lovely. And I think Shirley-Anne touched on it earlier. It's such a pleasure to be in a company of like-minded people and be part of this Sunday gathering. But it wouldn't be possible without you guys, because otherwise we'd be talking to each other and that'd be boring. So thank you to you guys at home for watching us week in and week out. And a massive thank you again to Sue and Peter in Scotland for the wonderful video that you sent to Sandra for the inspiration of this Sunday. So for my words of the week, I just want to touch on what Sandra spoke about. Sandra spoke about the principles of beloved, you know, greeting people with an open heart, no agenda, giving forgiveness quickly, completely, and unconditionally, seeing the divine essence in everyone, and remembering you never left the light of them all. Sandra spoke in quite depth about this. And one of the things she spoke about was being Sandra. You know, when Sandra looks in the mirror in the morning, she says, "Oh God, I look old." Believe me, you don't look a day over 21, Sandra. To us, what we see is a vision of beauty, you know, heart, mind and soul, complete vision of beauty. You know, and Sandra spoke about being Sandra. We can play at being Sandra, but we'll never be Sandra. Because she touched upon remembering who you are. And that's one of the things we've spoken about in numerous ways across our Sunday gatherings over the weeks. Remember who you truly are. You know, we're all unique individuals. We all look different, we all act different, and we all behave different. But that's what makes us special. And that's what makes this world special, because we're all different. Can you imagine how boring this world would be if we all looked the same, if we all spoke the same? But thankfully we're not. We're all different. We're all unique. And you're all unique in a good and special way. So what I want to say to you guys is truly remember who you are. Don't play at being someone else. Play at being you, because that's who you are. And you need to love who you are. You know, everyone loves you for who you are. So please just remember, you know, we are who we are. We can't change your features. Well, you can, but it costs you a lot of money. But no, be happy in your body of who you are. Be happy with your personality, you know, and truly love you for being you. That's what makes you special and unique. And I just want to leave you with a little quote, of course, from Disney, from the Bambi film. Love is a song that never ends. And I'll now hand you to Craig for our closing prayer.
Thank you, Darren, for those absolutely beautiful words. You're quite a charmer there as well. So to whomever you acknowledge as God, let us pray together now. Dear Father God, dear Infinite Spirit, dear creative force of life, we've gathered here under the banner of We Don't Die, but we've also gathered here under the banner of love. Each one of us today has seen love, has heard love, or has felt it in their hearts. To speak our truths, to be courageous, to be responsible, but above all, to care for those in need, those who need our compassion at this moment. Whether it be ourselves or whether it be the people who came forward this evening, we give compassion and love to all unconditionally this day. Our hearts are filled with warmth, just as the candle is lit ablaze. And we say thank you to you, God, for everything we've had today. Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you, Craig. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close off our Sunday gathering with another musical icon. This would be the young Michael Jackson. And it's a very special song. And just imagine your loved ones in the spirit world are singing it to you. So thank you for being here. And here is young Michael Jackson. Just remember, they're all around. They are there. Their love never dies. You will see them again, and we're here for you too. It's not too soon to register for next week. WeDon'tDie.com. Love you all. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.